Hello everybody, it's Ezra time again and welcome back to another reaction videos. And today I'm gonna be reacting to game theory Fnaf, the monster we miss. Is Fnaf VR help wanted theory, and once again it was made by MatPat, obviously the game theorist himself. And honestly, guys, I'm really excited to check out what's the new theory about the Fnaf VR because apparently there is, I believe there is more to it, and recently, I just checked Doko's channel. You know the Fnaf British YouTubers who does a lot of Fnaf. I'm pretty sure you guys already know him based it on the Ultimate Custom Night where he beats 50-50 mode. I think that's where most people know him. But overall, I think most of his fans was like Fnaf fans. I mean including me. And apparently there is some new stuff about Five Nights at Freddy's, and that got me really excited. And I'm curious to check it out, obviously. But of course, before that, I kind of want to check the game theory, obviously, because again, the Fnaf VR, I believe there is still more mystery in this game, and once again, I really can't wait to see what MatPat has to say about this game. And this video is 24 minutes long, so we're in for a ride, guys. So yeah. Without further ado, let's just get into the video, shall we?
The books offer a closer peek at Henry and William Afton, how their partnership flourished early on, and how their view of the animatronics evolved over time. Thoughtful fans might want to give these sections a closer look to determine how they impact the story of the games as well. Right there.
Okay.
Clear as crystal. For years, I've been trying to piece together the story of these games, right? But one thing has always served as a major sticking point, and that thing has been these books. Now, admittedly, these books entered the series at a tough time. Fnaf 4 had released a few months prior, the game that, to this day, serves as the single biggest point of frustration for anyone trying to piece together the lore. Scott always trolls us. See,
Fnaf 4
also
is
the
just
repeated use of the name Jeremy.
That
But
one.
this one game was just too much.
This one was just
It was a game that played with so many different ideas. It played with dreams and dates and bites and balloon boys and new characters and new
right
toys.
now I kind of
Kids that look like established characters. I mean, what was real, what wasn't, no one had any idea, and still to this day, we are at a loss about what this game means for the entire franchise as a whole. Then, shortly after that, FNAF World would enter the picture, and well, we all know how well that one went.
FNAF World is not doing so well.
Needless to say, it was a sensitive time for the series, and sandwiched in between it all was the Silver Eyes, the start of the novels, a story set in the FNAF universe, but not really? Question mark? Scott Cawthon, when the books first came out, tried to make it clear what role these played in the greater story, but I don't know if it helped things. Here's his quote. "The truth is that after a while, lore can become so dense that there isn't any room for a story anymore. Another truth is that what makes for a good game doesn't necessarily make for a good book. Sometimes a timeline gets so full that the only way to tell a real story is have that story set in a different timeline, an alternate universe, a different location, or perhaps from a vantage point that isn't entirely what it appears to be." It's an interesting quote. True to Scott's style, it doesn't give anything away. I mean, everyone immediately latched onto this idea that the books were somehow a separate and alternate universe, but if you come back and read that quote again, like I just did here for the first time in years writing this script, it's actually only one of the possibilities that he raised. In fact, now that all three of the books have come out and completed the main story arc, we actually know what they really were. It was that last thing, a vantage point that wasn't entirely what it appeared to be. Now, spoiler alert for the books, but basically at the end of this one, the grand finale, Fourth Closet, it's revealed that our main character, Charlie, is an animatronic recreation of a dead girl. That the brilliant roboticist Henry, co-founder of Freddy's, had a daughter named Charlotte, who was kidnapped and killed by his partner, William Afton, at the age of 3. And that out of his grief, he rebuilt her. And that the character that we've been following for all three of these books isn't actually a human being, but just a glorified animatronic that grows older with time. Now, it
Oh
sounds
my
really
God.
weird, but here, let
Yeah,
me explain. So,
agree.
the 4 closets, what that's in reference to, basically, Henry created 4 versions of that robot, each one meant to simulate a different life stage that she would never get to experience. Toddler, tween, teen, adult.
Ah,
Thus
okay.
allowing this robot child to grow up over time, infusing each one of those robots with fabricated memories of a childhood he created using a camera and tripod. And if you think that sounds weird, then you haven't finished reading this book, my friends, because this book jumps so many sharks. But that is nothing compared to what this book does to the animatronic baby that we all know and love. Baby, you know, the clown girl. Well, in the books,
I haven't read the book,
she's
so
actually the
I
perfect
don't know
4th
anything.
adult version of Charlotte, but she's also the robot that still, like we see in the games, devours William Afton's daughter Elizabeth and then goes on to get possessed by her. So
Oh my
this
God.
one robot is simultaneously Elizabeth's soul inside of Charlie's adult body, but in addition to
that's-
dancing and singing and extruding out ice cream, she also has the ability to switch
That's
between
kinda messed
looking
up.
like a passable human, so much so that a character in here actually gets aroused by her. No joke. And also expanding somehow into a giant clown-shaped robot, the one that we all know and love. She does this
Okay,
by using a
how?
combination of needles with little balls on the end, as well as sound illusion discs. I mean, how ridiculous is this, right? It's a good
Yeah,
thing nothing
agree.
that stupid appears in the games.
Uh-oh.
Yep. Yep, they're in the games, aren't they? They are.
Yep.
Actually, if you look at Baby's design as it's presented in the games, you see exactly what this book is talking about. The needles with the little balls on the end, and yeah, even the weirdo sound illusion discs. You might see where I'm going with this, right? Well, many hardcore fans want to dismiss the books and treat them as a separate entity, wall them off entirely from what's going on in the games. You just can't. This book right here, Silver
some
Eyes,
people
is
did
what
that,
allowed
but-
me to know that Purple Guy's name was going to be revealed as William Afton before
Yeah, this
Sister
is one of
Location
them.
actually revealed that to be the case.
Those aren't the design choices we were curious about, Mr. Afton.
Yeah, I didn't actually read the book when I watched Matt Pat Let's Play, some of it.
These are
I was
the
kinda
things that
surprised
confirm
by
that
that.
Susie and Fritz were missing children's incident victims before it appeared in FNAF 6. The 4th closet explained what Candy Cadet's stories were all about. 5 animatronics, 5 souls, all melted down into one entity. But because my theories based on the books tended to frustrate hardcore community members, I backed off of using them. But here we are now, me sitting on the couch reading this. The Freddy Files Updated Edition, which, in addition to including more fan art than a typical game theory episode, also has that quote that I mentioned from earlier. Here on page 222, second to last page in the book, thoughtful fans might want to give these sections about Henry and William a closer look to determine how they impact the story of the games as well. There's no denying it now, friends. These things, right over here, these 3, they're important. They are here to stay. So, for today's theory,
Now they feel
I
important.
threw away everything.
But back then,
all
people
our
are just,
assumptions,
like,
all the things that I
different
thought we had
universe.
solved from the games. And I took a fresh, clean look at this franchise, this time starting from the perspective of the books. And that brought me down an insane thought train.
Oh my God.
I don't necessarily think that today's theory is right. I definitely think that there are plenty of holes in it.
It's
but
just
I
a
also
theory.
don't think it's out of the realm of possibility for the story that Scott is trying to tell. It's a theory that's worth chewing on, because it simultaneously overturns a lot of the assumptions that we've made about this series, while also filling in a lot of logical holes in the timeline of events. This is a big one, and I'm curious to get your thoughts on it. Big like what we missed in FNAF 4, kind of big. Here's my theory for you today. Mustard Man. You know, orange guy from FNAF
Yep.
6. I'm gonna say he's Henry, original creator of the animatronics, co-owner of Fredbear's Family Diner. That would make this Henry's house. In turn, that would thereby make FNAF
Okay.
4 his house as well. And if that's his house, then this is Henry's son, and this is Henry's other son. That's right, Crying Child isn't
Oh,
any member
wow.
of the Afton family.
Again.
He is Henry's son. And then that would make this and this
That's why I love
Henry's
FNAF. The
daughter.
lore
And therefore,
is amazing.
this then would be Henry's daughter's empty room.
Hmm.
Now, hold on. I am sure there are plenty of you hardcore FNAFers out there who
It's
are
like,
ready to
what?
tear this huge list apart. This
Yeah, I mean, you kind of did
clearly
that,
the
this
Afton
theory, and
household.
then
We have
kind of
established
change it
this
again.
time and time again since the
Yeah.
release of Sister Location.
But then again,
stay with
it's a
me.
theory.
Sit back, relax.
Yes, I
I'm
am.
not kidding. Pull out your pen and paper, start taking notes for your angry
Oh, yeah,
rage comment
anybody
down
have a
below.
pen?
This is a FNAF theory unlike anything we've ever talked about, so
Let's just jump into it.
so I already told you the big reveal at the end of the fourth closet, that our protagonist Charlie is a robot built in the image of Henry's dead daughter. But there is one last twist here. On the very last page of the book, we go to visit Charlie's grave. The real Charlie, the child who was kidnapped and killed at an early age. It's a grave that ends up high on a hill under a lone tree, similar to a very familiar scene that we see in the games at the end of FNAF 6, the gravestone ending. And on it, we're told the following words were etched into the stone. Beloved daughter, Charlotte Emily, 1980 to 1983. First off, her last name is Emily? I mean, there's no other name written here, so that isn't her middle name. So Henry's last name is Emily? We're talking about the
Henry Emily
family household? It's just weird.
maybe.
I mean, this is a book series filled with animatronics that are possessed by
Agree.
human
I
children.
mean, everything is
and
weird already,
metallic
so-
soul glue, but Emily as your last name? That has to be the single largest stretch of imagination out there. And no offense to anyone with Emily as their actual last name. I know it's a real thing. I'm just over-exaggerating my
No
rage
offense,
for
guys.
But the important thing here is the date, right? Born in 1980, died
and
in
1983.
1983.
3 years.
83. Should sound familiar, right?
83, yeah.
Now, why does it matter?
The bite of 83.
FNAF 4. FNAF 4, a game that ends
Oh,
with someone
okay.
getting themselves bitten.
Yeah,
is
this one,
not
I
depicted
remember
the
this
bite
one.
of 87 like we all assumed when we first saw that scene, but instead is a game that is set in the year 1983. It frustrated everyone. I mean, why would you choose to do that, Scott? It made no sense for the story that we had become familiar with by that point in the series. It made no
Yeah,
sense
agree.
until today. We know that the
Until
gravestone
today.
is real. We know that Henry truly has a daughter who dies and goes on to become the puppet in the games. So what if that death took place in 1983
sister?
like we see in the book? Opens up a lot of possibilities. You see,
So you're saying
the
one-
other thing
the
that
younger
never
one
quite
die
gets
in the bite of
explained is
83
this
and
empty girls' room that we're
the other
allowed
one
to
is the
explore
puppets?
throughout
I think, I
FNAF
don't know.
4's minigame. Clearly, there's a reason it's here, but we never get a clue as to why or who that room
Yeah,
could belong
exactly.
to. This, in turn, led all us FNAF theorists to speculate wildly about the owner of this room. Anyone with 2 X chromosomes was up for debate. This pigtail girl, and that was it. Honestly, because she was
Yeah.
literally the only girl that was introduced into the series at this point. Later, when Sister Location came out, we got ourselves a second girl, and everyone celebrated. It was Afton's daughter, Elizabeth, so that room had to be hers, right? I mean, the game was
I
even
mean,
alluding to it being
yeah,
hers because it was
kind
the
of.
Sister Location. But let's stop for a minute and question all of those assumptions. Because that's what they are, really. There's not a whole lot of proof here. What if that girl's room in FNAF 4 belonged to Charlie? Charlotte, Henry's daughter, who dies
I mean,
in 1983.
a lot
the
of
room
possibilities.
is empty, after all. And we're not seeing a whole heck of a lot of girls wandering around the playground area. And the year certainly matches the year of the disappearance and death from the books. Could that
Yeah,
girl's
agree.
room in FNAF 4 actually be Charlotte Emily's room? Could this whole
Could
house
be.
from FNAF 4 actually be the Henry Emily household? Consider this. In the second novel, The
Man,
Twisted
this is-
Ones, a climactic
this is
final
insane.
battle happens in an underground animatronic facility. Sounds a bit like our sister location. When our heroes emerge to the surface, they find themselves in the ruins of a familiar house. Here's the quote. "Don't you see where we are?" Charlie whispered. "John, it's my dad's house. It's the room we found." The underground facility isn't under William Afton's house. Instead, in the books, it's hidden under Henry's house. And now, what do we see in the games? A hidden facility buried directly under the FNAF 4
Under
house.
FNAF 4
A
house, exactly.
that we've been assuming up until this point to be Afton's house.
Yeah,
But it's
everybody
starting
assumed
to
that.
look more and more like it might be Henry's. And that's not all. Let's take a minute to flash back to FNAF 6, shall we? Now,
Okay.
overall, I feel like we've done a pretty darn good job of wrapping up this game's loose ends. We know all the names on the different gravestones. We know what Candy Cadet is rambling on about. We know that Fruity Maze Girl here is Susie, who gets lured away and stuffed into Chica. Heck, we even know that the game itself, this building, could be the potential box where the pieces all come together and eventually get burned away. But the one thing that we don't know is the answer to Midnight Motorist. A minigame that, true to form, was the one moment in every FNAF game where everyone collectively looks at the screen and then slams their head on the desk. What? There's an orange guy now? Who the heck is the kid? Where did he go? Why is his window broken? Why are there footprints outside of the window? What is going on? I mean, we have smoothed over so much of this franchise, and I feel so confident about so much of this lore, and that game, that one little mini game is the one that just like niggles the back of my mind. If I could ask Scott Cawthon one thing about this entire franchise, this is the one that I'd want him to explain. No joke. I don't care about anything else. This
I will
is
do the same.
that I feel so befuddled on. Why I'm so determined to solve it, and why I'm doing today's theory. Because in the past, I've felt fairly confident saying that the mustard man here is William Afton, because he drives a purple car and he's driving away from the scene where the puppet girl died. But now, I'm not so sure. It always bothered me, and literally everyone else, that a guy who has been associated with one color, the color purple, for the entirety of this franchise is suddenly orange. I tried to dismiss it as Scott pulling a Scott, but you know, that's not the most satisfying answer. It doesn't feel conclusive, you know?
Yeah, agree.
And more importantly, those footprints outside of the window. I mean, why are they there? Either an animatronic went to meet this boy outside of his window, but that seems unlikely based on how we know these animatronics behave. Yeah, I mean, or it was someone in a costume showing up to lure the boy out of his room. That one definitely seems like the more likely solution, but the only person in the entirety of this franchise who would do something like that is big ol' Willie A. And why would he do something like that to his own kid in his own house and then get mad about it? Things just don't add up cleanly.
Now this kind of makes sense.
It really started to bother me when I was playing Fnaf VR Help Wanted. Glitch Trap is clearly modeled after the first suit ever used by William Afton.
That footprint might belong to Glitch Trap.
Stitching. This is a hand-sewn bodysuit rather than any sort of animatronic suit that we would see later in the series. This also
basically a mascot
with the timing of the Midnight Motorist cutscene, which shows the birth of the puppet, one of the first major deaths of the entire FNAF story. Glitch Trap's suit also very distinctly has 3 toes,
there is the foot.
Just like the footprints outside of the boy's window. Now, as we know, Scott Cawthon likes to clarify things in his next game. If there was one huge question mark left from before, that Midnight Motorist minigame was it. So we have ourselves a suit that would have been in use around the time of the minigame, as well as a matching foot pattern to the design that we see in the minigame. Heck, we even have ourselves a potential reference to it from Ultimate Custom Night and the Toy Chica cutscenes.
He'll be mine by the end of the day. I just know it. I told him to come over later. That should be enough. And if he doesn't show up, I'll just go to his house. And if he doesn't open the door, I'll just find a window.
And here's where everything starts coming together. Let's assume that William Afton, in his Glitch Trap suit with its 3 toes, is the one who's standing outside of that window, outside of Henry's house. He lures the crying child out, now Henry's son, to bring him back to the place that he loves more than anywhere else in the world, Fredbear's Family Diner. But we know that this is also the night where William takes his first victim, Charlotte, who's killed outside of the diner. This would explain why in FNAF 6, the crying child would actively run to Fredbear's against his father's will, but later, come FNAF 4, he would be terrified of stepping foot there. Remember what you saw and all that, as psychic friend Fredbear reminds him constantly. He saw the murder happen that night. That is what we're seeing in that FNAF 6 minigame. Meanwhile, we have ourselves the Mustard Man, who we're assuming is going to be Henry. He has a kid who has not only run away on multiple occasions, but is so determined to do so that he's willing to break through his own window to get there. So, how do you keep him safe at home? Well, you lock him in his room, just like we see happen in FNAF 4. But maybe locking him in his room isn't enough. Maybe you also have a series of security cameras hidden around the room.
Could be.
Hidden around your house. Hiding a security camera inside the Fredbear plushie that he takes everywhere. To keep your son safe.
The camera
to
from
keep track of
sister
where he is
location,
at any given
obviously.
point in time. Heck, maybe you could go so far as to design sound illusion discs to make him scared of the animatronics that he's seeing. His once beloved animatronic friends now terrifying to him, causing nightmarish hallucinations of the characters, just like the discs that we see hidden inside of Funtime Freddy's chest and sister location. The same discs that Henry is confirmed to have created in the books. These two, right here, they play a huge role in these two books. Though most of them in the books bear Afton's name, they were originally created by Henry in an attempt to warp the world around him, to hide from the grief that he felt after the loss of his child. Discs that, wouldn't you know it, Afton hides inside the Funtime robots, just like we see in the games. But as we see in FNAF 4, it isn't enough. The crying child still winds up at Freddy's. He still gets himself bitten and he dies. With that iconic line in yellow, "I will put you back together." Now, remember that quote I keep going back to in this book right here, second to last page? Thoughtful fans might want to revisit sections of how Henry and Afton's view of the robots change over time in order to determine how they impact the story of the games. Well, Henry in the books uses the robots to bring his daughter back to life. He rebuilds her. He puts her quite literally back together. He used the robots to try and heal his grief. I mean, if anyone in this series is gonna say a line like, "I will put you back together," it's Henry. Heck, maybe Mustard Man is the color that he is in order to better match the color of his FNAF 4 text. "I will put you back together" in yellow. And yeah,
kind of makes
sure,
sense.
it's yellow and not orange, but guess what? Purple guy was pink in his first outing. As the series has gotten darker, so too has the color palette. But seriously, there are two colors that are relatively similar. Maybe there's a connection there. And if the crying child is indeed Michael, as I've talked about a lot in past theories, Henry literally rebuilding his lost son, like he does his lost daughter in the books, explains all of the weirdness of Mike's behavior throughout the series. How he's able to survive being scooped, how he has fragmented memories of his past, how he doesn't die after puking up mom's robot spaghetti, how he's only able to die by fire.
I should be dead, but I'm not.
It's also worth noting that at no point in the series is Michael ever explicitly identified as Michael Afton. Now, it seems like Mike in sister location is referring to William Afton as father.
Father, it's me.
Oh, are you saying Michael
and him
is
saying
Michael Emily, Henry's
as
son?
Springtrap appears, definitely makes it seem
kinda
like he's
said it
going
before,
out and
right?
looking for William, but that may just be another Scott misdirect. It's open to interpretation. I mean,
my
this
God,
scene
Scott,
alone still
seriously.
has people convinced that Springtrap is Mike trapped inside of the suit. Mike Trap, even though I feel like it's pretty well established at this point that it's William Afton in there. It's still Will Trap. But there are people who are vehemently determined that Mike Trap is the reality of the canon of this series. Regardless of the whole Michael stuff, William Afton in these books is all about achieving immortality through the robots. He's interested in the science of it all. He wants to study the original FNAF gang and replicate the living metal that resulted from their deaths. That's why we see him tearing apart the robots in FNAF 3's minigames. He wants access to their metal. He wants to harvest it to run experiments. He wants to melt down those living endoskeletons so he can harness the possessed metal to create the Funtime animatronics. I mean, that is the whole point of Candy Cadet's stories in FNAF 6. 5 things melted down to create one thing. And it's exactly what we see happen as a huge plot point in the final book. Henry, on the other hand, is the emotional one. He's a creator who gets too invested in his own work.
This is so much,
He's
I'm not gonna
a bit
lie.
of a neglectful father
For
while
me.
he's alive, but he's devastated when he loses his daughter, turning to the one and only thing that he knows and understands to try and bring her back: robots. He goes to extreme lengths to use his robotic skills to try and bring her back to life, and he does it. He succeeds. He creates the most absurdly lifelike humanoid animatronics ever in science fiction, and they have to be to do some of the stuff that you see happen in these books because it is absurd. But if we are truly meant to apply the themes of these books to the games, then this isn't the Afton family household. It doesn't make sense. It's the Emily family household. It would explain the factory under the house.
Oh,
It would
wow.
explain the empty girl's bedroom in FNAF 4.
This
It
is
would
a
explain the
huge change
1983
of
date that
the
we're presented with.
theory,
It would say why
obviously.
Mustard Man is yellow, why there are footprints outside the window, why the crying child is suddenly scared of Freddy's, and it would even go so far as to explain the line, "I will put you back together." I mean, are there holes to this thing?
Maybe.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Are there things that are difficult to explain? Are you
I mean,
kidding
it's a
me?
theory.
This is FNAF. Gonna be true no matter this is William's house, Henry's house, or the frickin' White House. It's an extreme theory, but I think it's one that's worth considering because of its alignment with the books, and because of
agreed.
the lingering threads that it answers. Which is why today, I encourage you to discuss down below in the comments, discuss over on Reddit, and most importantly to remember that it's all just a theory.
A game theory.
Thanks for watching.
You're welcome, MatPat. Oh my god. Man, this is like so much changing on the theory itself. Like the shift between, like we thought, first of all,
The book
MatPat is very convincing, like, I mean, again, it's just a theory, I know, guys, but to me, MatPat is like the person that actually convinced me much more. I mean, I know Doko and or other channel actually did their own theory. Actually, Doko didn't actually did a theory. He just kind of like give some ideas. So the five was like, oh, okay, this idea could work, but this idea could also work. Like, sure, there is some debate here, but I mean, there on Doko's channel, but it's not huge. But on MatPat, it was like a theory is actually make like, okay, this is might happen again. He even said that it doesn't actually sound true. I mean, again, me personally, I trusted MatPat. I always trust his theories as always because he's so damn good at it, And my God, this is so much information. I mean, the video is 24 minutes long, you know. So yeah, once again, this is a huge information, huge change on the theory, because once again, I always thought the FNAF 4 house was actually the Afton family's house, and apparently in this one, it might be the Emily's household, which is kind of weird and awesome at the same time. Like I mean, the way MatPat explained it right now, I wanted to believe that this theory is true, guys. Like I wanted to believe that, but then again, it's just a theory. Could be wrong. I mean, there is a ton of FNAF game that is actually coming by Scott Cotton, so this could be a lot of retconning on the on MatPat's theory because, well, it's a theory, it's a lore, it's Five Nights at Freddy's, it's FNAF, So there's a lot of changes. There's a lot of stuff they're getting like revealed. So who knows? Who knows? Basically, and this is why, guys. This is why I love Five Nights at Freddy's. Like the lore is amazing, and I'm pretty sure like people actually get bored by playing FNAF. Like me personally, don't get me wrong. At some point right now, I just want to see. I see the game once and then twice, maybe three times, and after that, that's it. And then just waiting for MatPat to making a game theory about Five Nights at Freddy's. Unlike back then, back in 2016, where I first know FNAF, 2016, late 2016 basically, and that's where I know Markiplier and of course know Five Nights at Freddy's, and I was FNAF the whole time. And when I discovered the lore, I was like, my God, I was like blown away by it. But right now, I mean, I get it. The lore is getting too complicated. I mean, it's too dark at the same time. But I'm not complaining about the dark tone anyway because I enjoy it. But right now the story is all over the place, I would say. I mean, if MatPat has to make this video on YouTube, the game theory, then I think people just like, okay, I don't really care about the lore anymore. It's too complicated. Me personally, I still care about the lore, but I didn't actually push myself to make my own theory. Like back then, I was make my own theory a lot, but right now, I just like I'm just gonna leave it to MatPat. I trusted him. You guys trusted him, right? And he's so smart, obviously. And I can't believe how many time that he spent to make this one video. And my God, I mean, it's worth it. I'm not complaining. And my God, this is a lot of information, guys. Once again. So yeah, guys, there was the game theories video. Obviously, what we missed in FNAF VR Help Wanted by MatPat once again. If you guys want to watch the original video, I will put a link in the description below. Make sure to guys check the game theories channel, GT Live, film theories. Make sure to guys give some support to MatPats, and he's been awesome on this FNAF theory. I mean, I know his channel done a lot of game theory, but FNAF is the most popular one on his channel. I'm sure of it, you know. And yeah, I really enjoy this, guys, and I hope you guys enjoy it too, you know, as much as I you know, watch it. And I wonder what you guys thought about this new theory. You know, for me, it's insane, and I mean, it's gonna clear up a lot of things. So I like to believe it, you know. But even though it's just a theory, a game theory, but you know, I like to believe it. So yeah, once again, guys, and hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys enjoy, please leave a like, comment, maybe subscribe to this channel, and maybe leave a sorry, guys. Maybe share this video with your friends or family, and yeah, basically thank you everybody once again who've been subscribing to this channel, who've been showing support to this channel. I really appreciate it, guys. Thank you very very much, guys. And yeah, I think that's basically it for today's video, and I will see you guys in the next one then. Bye.